bait and switch black voters. I don't know if it was a bait and switch. I think it's just more of the same. I really believe that the man presented himself as he is, and whether or not we or any other voters read between the lines, I'm not so sure. And then, the update on Reverend Barber was good to hear that, have that conversation and with Reverend Barber and also Reverend Jonathan. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, but we can't talk enough about this, because if they can do this to ministers and people of faith who are praying, they will absolutely do it to anyone. But before we get to any of that, the doctor's in the house. Doc, what is on your heart, your soul, and your mind on this day?
Well, again, I'm just always blessed to be in conversation with you. No doubt about it. And I was thinking, last night, though, how many chickens have to come home to roost before the chicken farm collapses?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Reap what you sow, but how much reaping really needs to take place before the whole wheat field collapses? When I was thinking of my dear brother Barbara and brother Jonathan Wilson Harger, this is William, the great Reverend Dr. William Barber, and
Yes.
Dr. Jonathan Wilson Hargrove, and they're praying. In the midst of their praying, they get arrested and dragged out of the U.S. Capitol. And you say to yourself, well, there is a distinction, love of power and power of love, but just how powerful is the power of love? Because here
Yeah.
they love warriors in the face of raw power and treated any way the powerful wanted to treat them. Now, I know Brother Barber was very kind when he said that the police itself uh, looked as if they wanted to treat him kindly, but anytime they take your two sticks from you and then put the shackles on you, and you already are physically challenged,
Yeah.
I wonder whether that was unnecessary cruelty.
Yes.
It looks as if, the gangsterization that's proceeding out of the house and other places, cruelty has become the major strategy. And cruelty is a way of trying to send lessons to crush people's spirit and to break their sense of possibility or any source of hope. And I said to myself, well, what else other than bear witness? That's what Brother Barber's doing. What else can we raise our voices? What else can we do but organize? What else can we do but mobilize? What else can we do is try to, shut the whole system down, national strikes, some kind of collective expression of love that confronts raw power with the genuine power. See, that's something I'm wrestling with. I don't have the answer at all, but I'm wrestling with this because we're reaching a point now where it just looks as if we're almost wallowing in our own sense of impotence. And that's the last thing you want to do.
It is like these are heavy. I mean, this is really heavy times to and the question that you raised, well, several things that you're raising, but two in particular. One, how gracious Dr. Barber was. Those law enforcement officers certainly were dispatched by people in suits. I want people to understand this. I mean, they're doing what they're being told to do, and the people telling them to do these things wear suits. It was the same thing with the barking, with the dogs biting, civil rights marchers. It's the same thing with firefighters putting their water hoses on those same people. Those officers, whether it's firefighters or law enforcement officers, are being dispatched by people with suits. Now, I want us to lean into that. Now, how they comport themselves once they get on the scene is really up to them. So your point about, because they got to go because they're being told to go, but how they handle individuals is up to them. And whether the way they handle Dr. Barber is in their soul, not really thinking clearly about his disability or his need to have two walking canes, because that, police officers are trained a certain way, and unless their empathy rises up, they only see, a bull is only going to see red. To a hammer, everything is a nail. And my son is in law enforcement, and I'm trying to kind of parse this out, not to excuse the individual behaviors of anybody in law enforcement. However, they are being dispatched by people in suits who have labeled the people they're dispatched to go get as unworthy, as breaking the law, as we got to get these people up out of here. I mean, yeah. So I think many people, most, if you go from the generation X to younger, they ain't really never seen anything like this. Read about it. I just teach this stuff in my history classes, but to live it, oh no. So this is mind blowing for about 3 generations. That's Gen X, millennials, and the Zs. Never have lived through anything quite like this. And how powerful is the power of love, baby? When we come forward, we're going to go a little deeper with that question. You're listening to Truth Time.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You got to live in the reality, because this is it. Every day you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial, because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle, and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community. And as a people, we've apologized for so much. But when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is, we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes. So it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, yeah. So, Doc, as we were coming forward, you put out a very provocative question, one that I think we all are going to have to wrestle with, which is how powerful is the power of love, especially in the face of neo-fascism and such evil. I mean, we want to believe that love is the most powerful. However, no, I don't know if there's a however. I'm wrestling with this too, Doc.
No, it's something that we all wrestle with. I was really piqued by this and forced to reflect on this in a serious way recently by my dear brother, John Tatamano, who is a very distinguished theologian. He and I teach in a class here at Union Theological Seminary on Martin King and Mahatma Gandhi. And it includes Malcolm X as well as Ambedkar, the great Dalit thinker, so-called untouchable thinker, but a Dalit thinker. And he a reflection on the juxtaposition of Pontius Pilate and Jesus, that when Jesus comes to the city, it's a kind of parody, he says, of Pontius Pilate, because Pontius Pilate comes in the same time Jesus comes. but he comes in on a huge war horse. So it's an imperial procession. Jesus comes on a donkey, so it's a more love-centered protest. And yet the triumph just a few days later will be of Pontius Pilate over Jesus. Jesus is crucified based on the powers of Pontius Pilate and his alliance with the indigenous leaders there in Jerusalem. And you say to yourself, well, is the cross the fundamental end of the power of love in a hate-driven world? So what kinds of powers proceed from that cross in the face of Black people, poor people, working people getting demeaned, degraded, exploited, subjugated, dominated every day of their lives? How long? How
long?
That's a tough question.
It is. I mean, I'm hearing Reverend King's one of his sermons. How long? Not long, but not long is relative.
He said that 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Not long, well, it's half a century, brother.
Right. And the whole notion of truth crushed down to the earth shall rise again, or James Baldwin, when he critiques this country, said, I'm paraphrasing, but I love this country more than any other country. And so I reserve the right to criticize it. He said it more eloquently than I'm saying it. But he also wrestled with what progress really was. He was like, how much you want for your progress? And my grandmama never got it. My mama never got it. My daddy never got it. My wife never got it. My children never got it. How long for your progress? What else you want us to do in terms of just being cool, calm, and collected with progress? And Black people are such a gracious people, generally speaking. Not that they're not individuals who have faults and do human things like anybody else, but I'm just talking about as a group of people. And there was a quote, Doc, and not my quote, I don't think it's your quote, but somebody said that this country should be grateful that Black people want justice and not revenge.
Well, the country ought to be grateful that Black people never formed a Black version of the Ku Klux Klan. There had been a civil war every generation.
Yes.
Sojourner Truths and Harriet Tubman's and Martin King's and Frederick Douglass's, rather than Black versions of Bull O'Connor.
That's truth.
Black versions of Trump. It'd be a different kind of society. I mean, well, put it this way: the Civil War would be on every generation. Let's just put it. So they're love making a difference, but that's love from a hated people, namely Black folk, taught to hate themselves, and yet thereby finding themselves over and over and over again crucified as a sacrifice for the country and the world.
Yeah.
And you figure, how long can that go on?
That is a piercing question. And you're right. Black people have never created an organization, a group of people who were the exact opposite of the white knights, there have been other white supremacist groups called by any other names, but certainly the KKK is the most known name. But that's something that people need to go on and let that wrap their mind around that. There's never been. And if anybody had any reason to seek revenge, and I'm not advocating for this, it would be Black people, but we never have in that way. All we've ever asked for was justice. And still to this day, we haven't gotten it. So what happened to Reverend Barber and Reverend Jonathan, what could happen to so many others, really is a wake-up call for us under the brutality, the tyranny of this particular government, and led under President Trump. And Brother Smiley was interviewing someone. I caught the last 10 minutes. I didn't catch his name, but I think the question was, is anybody in that administration going to speak up and tell the president that he's wrong, that we're headed down the wrong course? And what the guest said is that no, because those are the true believers that he has this time around. And nobody is going to tell this man, or it doesn't seem like anybody anytime soon is going to tell him. You talk about drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, they done guzzled it by the gallons.
That was John Dean.
That was John Dean. Okay. Yeah.
Under Nixon. He's still alive and he's still speaking his mind and telling some strong truths. So, but you're absolutely right. Tavis had him on for a whole hour. And John Dean was just laying it out. In fact, it was interesting because Tavis asked John Dean, if you heard him, what do you do? He said,
yes.
Well, that's what Barbara was doing.
He said, pray. Yeah.
That's what Wilson Hargrove were doing in this U.S. Capitol. They were.
That's right.
Now, I believe prayer has power. And I believe the prayer does change things. But if all we can do is pray in the face of raw power, we got ready to get crucified.
How powerful is the power of love? So going back to a general strike, because there is going to have to be the coming together of a mass movement of people for days and days and days and days. And I'm just trying to want weeks and weeks, whether we should encouraging people to stock up on groceries and just stock up and be ready to fight, because the cruelty of this administration and the fact that so many corporate leaders have bent to bigotry, there's no telling what, because it's not just President Trump alone. I mean, him alone is bad enough, but it is also within the system that we are navigating. You have players, corporate interests, other institutional interests who are willing to bend to his will. I don't know if you saw, and I want us to get back to Reverend Barber, but Amazon is thinking about laying out, kind of truth in pricing, what items went up due to tariffs, so that people can see that, the iron that you purchased went up, and this is how much it went up, and this is why it went up. This is the tariff increase. And the Trump administration is trying to stop them from doing that.
They don't want the truth to be known or seen. They don't want people to gain access to those truths. And that's exactly what dictatorial regimes do, what autocratic regimes do, what neo-fascist regimes do. Just make sure the truth is crushed.
Yes.
Access to how their policies are crushing people. And if it's away with that, you say, oh my God.
It's obvious that they know, because they wouldn't want to hide it. If they knew the truth, they would rebel and they would be outraged. Consumer confidence is very low. I was reading an article that indicated that it is as low as it was in 2020. So we're talking about getting down to COVID levels, and the man has only been there. I mean, we're about to evaluate the first 100 days, and consumer confidence is just shot.
And it's sad, really, when you think about it. This shows you how sick the country is and how corrupt the system is, that the one thing that Trump is worried about is the market. Congress, scared, weak,
feckless.
The courts, lower courts sending some signals, but Supreme Court sitting back. People's in the streets, mobilized. It's a beautiful sight. It's magnificent, but the impact is not that much. Not that much. It's the market and the stock market. When the stock market collapses or goes down, then Trump and company respond. That's you see this. If the stock market is the major opposition to gangster activity in the White House, and Harvard University is the major institution on the cutting edge for social justice, it's hard to stay away from the crack house now. I mean, you're thinking like, Lord have mercy. Are we that weak and feeble as a society? How do you hold on? Well, we're here to say that Black folk been here before.
my God, absolutely been here before. And we are uniquely positioned because we have been here before to help navigate the larger everyday people out of this. It's going to have to be something stunning. In fact, a few shows ago, you talked about the personification of the market, that the market has been humanized and everyday flesh and blood people have been dehumanized. So for me, I deductive reasoning says that we have got to do something in the marketplace. So there's power in our purchase, going and looking at those places that have donated to elected officials that refuse to bend for the will of the people and withhold our money. I mean, Target donated money to President Donald J. Trump. So it is no wonder that they would roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they're not the only ones. But if the marketplace is the supreme being, then we got to do something with the marketplace.
That's true. That's why the issue of class, that's why the issues of strikes, that's why the issues of boycotts become so very important. Now, we got to keep the love in it. Just because they are gangster and don't want to talk about the spirit and morality doesn't mean that we have to be. Because we got to fight side of us.
We got to fight the powers that be.
I tell you, Public Enemy ain't no joke. We love you. Chuck D, we love you. Flavor Flav.
Yeah, that anthem is timeless, but it's real. So that, Reverend Barber was arrested on Monday. As we know, we talked to folks as it was happening in the Capitol Rotunda while leading a prayer protest against Republican budget cuts. It's important that our audience understands that what they were praying for and standing up against, they were praying for this president, this administration to understand and have some mercy on the people that this man ran that said that he was going to serve as a faux populist. They were standing up against cuts to Medicaid, to Medicare, to Social Security, to what's happening in the Department of Education, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's a long litany of things that this president has done that is going to have an absolutely negative ripple effect for the everyday people of this country from all walks of life. Now, immediately, it may hurt a certain group more deeply and profoundly at first, but ultimately, as one of the elders of one of my friends said, ain't none of us getting out of here alive. And ultimately, everybody is going to have to face the consequences of what this president is doing. His favorability ratings have shot down, and unless, as you're laying out, unless people get so sick and tired, in the words of the great Fannie Lou Hamer, of being sick and tired, nothing is going to move. The other two levers of power have abdicated their responsibility for the most part. The courts, though, are doing more than this Congress. We got to admit. I mean, some of these judges really are pushing back more than the members of Congress. But short of that, but he gets to shoot them down the higher up the level in the court system that he goes. But short of that, it is all on the people at this point.
No, that's real. That's very, very real. And it also raises a question of, how many people really believe in democracy. As people are willing to bear the burden required, be free, let alone fight for freedom. If people are willing to just cave in, if people are just willing to accommodate, if people are just willing to register in a poll, but not execute what the poll itself was about. Trump could have the lowest polls in the world, but for dictators, it doesn't make a difference. Because no matter what the polls say, if you don't have the organized opposition, the dictators in there, no matter what, as long as they want. You see, so that's the other side to this thing that one has to come to terms with. And again, it's something that's not new for Black folk. See, under 244 years of slavery, it didn't make any difference who the head of the regime was.
And 100 years of
neo-slavery, and it didn't make any difference.
Jane Crow. No, it didn't make a difference. We got to make a difference. That question is how many people believe in democracy. I think in some ways we have been lullabied. You sing a baby a lullaby to try to get them to go to sleep. We've been lullabied as a nation, and we got to get unlullabied. We're going to talk about that when we come forward. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, man.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with 4 things you should know from BIN News. A Kobe and Gianna Bryant mural was vandalized. The artwork in downtown LA was created days after Kobe, Gigi, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in January of 2020. The artist is planning to restore the artwork. A home where Malcolm X once lived will open to the public in Inkster, Michigan next month. The home has been restored to preserve its historical significance. The restoration preserved the original bathtub where Malcolm X would perform his religious washing rituals and more. Today is National Fentanyl Awareness Day. The goal is to remind people of the deaths caused by fentanyl every year. And Ryan Coogler's vampire movie Sinners made $45 million in its sophomore outing and finished first once again. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to expresspros.com to find your location. That's expresspros.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Critical game for the Clippers tonight in Denver. It's game 5 of their first round series against the Nuggets. The series is tied at 2 games apiece in the best of 7. Clippers coach Ty Lue needs to come up with something in his game plan to deal with Nuggets center Nikola Jokic. In the 4 games, Jokic is averaging a triple-double, 28.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 10.8 assists. The Clippers have no players on their injury list, which means Kawhi Leonard is healthy. The Clippers will not get past the Nuggets without Leonard. Leonard has been brilliant in the series, averaging 26 points and shooting 56%. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight on TNT. Shaquille O'Neal has agreed to become the general manager at Sacramento State University. Shaq will help run the school's men's basketball program. Shaq's son, Shakir, transferred to Sac State from HBCU, Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Kern Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman, that's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back.
I'm on mute. My apologies, audience. Like I was loving Brother Smiley's editorial, fundamental fairness.
Fundamental fairness. Brother Tavis, he turned 60 the other day, and he's got the energy of a 26-year-old. On fire. But
Happy birthday, Brother Smiley.
Oh, no. Well, no, it was back in September. But
it was in September. Oh, okay. We got another one coming. Okay.
No, I just think that he's still so young in heart. And he's a very young 60, and he's raising that question that King raised about fundamental fairness. And we say to ourselves, you know, when will America really treat black people in a fundamentally fair way? Does America even have the capacity to treat black people in a fundamentally fair way? And if it doesn't, we keep fighting anyway, but that's highly revealing. We can understand why Marcus Garvey wanted black folk to find somewhere else to go, back to Africa and so forth. Or we can understand why it is that those of us who have a deep Christian faith believe that the only help we really can look to is an almighty God, because there's nothing else to fall back on. Nothing else that can be a source of strength. Nothing else that could be a launching pad for your life, for your kids, for your family, for your community, for your black folk, for folk catching so much hell every day.
Every day, Doc. I don't think you can. I'm rereading Faces at the Bottom of the Well.
Oh, Lord.
Professor Derek Bell, and I'm telling you, it's something. No, but we keep fighting. I mean, you're right, because knowing that reality, understanding the cruelty of that reality, either you shrink or you continue to try to shine. And as black people, we've never shrunk from anything, but that is a harsh indictment on this country. You know, Bayard Rustin once said that this country never has and never will do anything solely for the Negro. And he was speaking those words in the context of the freedom budget for all Americans that we talk about often, and that I'm working on at the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy with the great stratification economist, Dr. Derek Hamilton himself and so many of my other colleagues, but that's a heck of a statement to say, Doc. I think several of our leaders came to that realization over their lifetime. You don't want to believe it, but so far, it has proven to be true, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a tragic comic blues-like situation that we keep fighting, but because that's what we're called to do, and we love our kids, we love our children, we love our mamas and daddies and grandmamas and granddaddies. So that in that sense, it's just a given. We're gonna keep fighting. What?
Yeah.
Never allow the hatred and the greed to have the last word. But then when you sit back sometimes and you say to yourself, how long? And Martin says, not long. Well, what is not long? How long is not long?
For some generations, they never saw freedom. So how long was too long?
Ooh, how long? Much too long.
Too long. How long is too long? Sometimes it depends. Oh my God, this is mind blowing, Doc. It really is. I want to go move. Let us cool off a little bit. Let's go move to our chat here on YouTube, our live chat, as we do every day. We want to thank you so much. We got so many viewers and listeners, and not everybody has the opportunity to chime in, but we appreciate those who do and those who don't. But in this community, we got a little chat community that has been building since we started this show in January. So we got Joshua Thompson, who has made comments about 3 or 4 times. 911, bless, prosecute, immigrants, welcome. So you're welcome here too, Joshua. Thank you so much for commenting. I don't think Joshua comments often, so we appreciate you today. I examine life. Thank you for telling the truth every day, Professor and Senator. We try our best on Truth Time to live up to the name of the show, Truth Time. We got Mikhail. I know y'all covered Hakeem Jeffries' sit around. We did cover that sit around yesterday, but did you see the fake rap album cover he posted on social media? Yeah, Mikhail, I saw it. Someone called him APAC Secure. Did you see that cover that they put up?
Well, I didn't see that.
I will send it to you during our when we come forward again. I'm gonna tell you something. It is ridiculous, and it shows how unserious this man is, and also yet another reason why he must go. But yeah, Mikhail, I saw it. I was shaking my head so hard. It just, Doc, it's ridiculous. I am going to text it to you so you can see it for yourself. And you can let us know what you think about it. Thanks for sharing that. We got B Bell, a bad dog bullies. Hey, B Bell. Good afternoon, my people. Got the power fist up. We have to remember we are dealing with wolves. When the lamb thinks about food, he thinks about grazing. When the wolf thinks about food, he thinks about eating the lamb. Oh!
That sounds like Malcolm X.
That's deep, Doc.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, we got to decide. Are we going to be wolves or lambs? But B Bell is right. The lambs graze and the wolves let the lambs graze, and then they eat the lamb. B Bell, a bad dog bullies. You laid down some knowledge right there. I mean, that's good. That's strong. Mikhail also came back. It's also my birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday, Mikhail. Happy birthday today. And Truth Time is one of the best presents I could receive both today and every day. Y'all are on the air.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That is so sweet.
Lovely.
So love. Thank you so much. And we hope you have the best birthday ever. Just take the month. I know it's the end of the month, but go ahead and take May. Just take a birthday month.
Birthday.
Take a birthday month.
Much at the moment where things are so dim and so.
Yeah. But if you can't take a month, take the whole weekend. We really do. We hope you enjoy your birthday. And thank you so much for your kind words. We got Zero Joshua. Hey, Zero Joshua. Love you both. I'm telling you, these handles for our viewers, they so creative.
Zero Joshua.
Zero Joshua. Joshua. Zero Joshua, we rocking with you. We got Terrence Allen Duncan. Sabby Sab promotes mutual aid for Black folks communities. I'm learning more about it. What are y'all thoughts? Mutual aid in the Black community, Doc. What you thinking?
Oh, it's crucial. It becomes more crucial now. We got to fall back on our roots. We got to fall back on whatever Black institute, Black infrastructure, Black forms of mutual aid, because it's clear that we are in here on our own, and self-determination requires mutual aid as well as, in the end, just revolutionary transformation of the system. And we salute Sister Sabby. You know, that's Sister Sabby who's got her show on every day, and Anahita and I try to watch it as much as we can. But she's out there laying out her truths in her own way, and we salute her.
And I'm gonna give her a half salute, Doc, because she talks smack about me too much and they interviewed me one time. So I'm just putting it out here for those of you who watch her. She talk all kinds of junk. Now sometimes, you know, she'll say something positive, but other times she'll say stuff that's totally, one, unwarranted, two, don't have the facts. So if you're gonna be real, sometimes you need to call people up first before you start trying to call somebody out. But in any case, yeah, I'll give her. You can give her the whole salute. I'll give her a half.
No, but
half salute.
Now, because we got to tell the truth on Truth Time.
No, I know, Doc. I knew once she found that out, it wasn't gonna be. It don't sit too well with you. But yeah, she's done some unfair, made some very unfair remarks towards me. But in any case, you know what? Her platform, and she got a right to be wrong. Oh, you're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we shall continue our riveting discussion.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like to inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 and the California Black Chamber of Commerce invite you to the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. Get certified and register as a new bidder. Sell products and services to the state. Learn about pre-bid events and more. And it's all free. All you have to do is sign up at www.calbcc.org. That's www.calbcc.org. Registration for the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, begins at 9 a.m. and the workshop concludes at 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. This is a community call to action from the California Black Chamber of Commerce and KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You got to live in the reality because this is it. Every day you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community. And as a people, we've apologized for so much. But when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down. Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
It absolutely will rise again. Doc, I'm going to stick with our viewers. So Brother Terrence Allen Duncan is the one that, mentioned Sabby. And, even though she is she goes a little too far when it comes to me sometimes. I agree with mutual aid, and that's really how Black folks have made it all this time. We've always been a people. We've had to have mutual aid. So now it's reigniting that spirit among new generations. But that's how we had to roll to survive.
Exactly right.
That's not nothing new to us. And I think brother Terrence came back in and he said understood. So I appreciate him saying that. And then also he said, please like, subscribe to Truth Time. And we do have a subscription, I Examine Life subscribe. So we want to thank you so much, I Examine Life. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Terrence Allen, for reminding Doc and I to say that, because we don't say that enough. We have our blessed peacemaker, late but still good to be with you. So glad that you could make it. Sending you lots of love. B-Bell of Bad Dog Bullies. Again, Truth Time, the best way to spend my lunch hour. Always get healthy food for thought and seasoning for the soul. Thank you. Thank you.
Those words are so beautiful, empowering.
They are. Wow. Oh my God, just so beautiful. And then we got and then Terrence Allen Duncan said, understood, Senator, exclamation point. And then, yes, ma'am, I appreciate you, Brother Allen. Still, people listen to Savvy. I'm not here not to say, supporter. I'm just letting you know, half a salute, because don't come at me like that without having a conversation with me. So anyway, I'm gonna put that in the parking lot. We got the one and only, and I mean the one and only, Dr. Anahita Mataville West, and she says the following: I think there should be scientific studies on what our Black people are made of, despite the brutalities done to them. They still fighting for truth, justice, love, and not returning the hatred. I know that's right. Dr. West, Dr. West makes a good point. Study what we made of, how we roll like this.
Well, I love my beloved Anahita Madalby West, and she's been raising those questions for a long time, given the magnificent work she does there, in her school in Long Beach, dealing with so many magnificent Black folk, incarcerated Black folk, and so on. But it's a spiritual issue. It's a cultural issue. You see, there's something about deciding to stay on the love train no matter what the conditions are. Deciding to stay on the joy train, deciding to stay on the justice train. And as you know, not every Black person, but it's the dominant form of Black leadership.
Yes, it's how we move. It is our dominant movement pattern. Again, Dr. West and I would never, as you say, there's gangsters in every group.
That's right. But the thing is, if you go from Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass to Martin King, and you look at the Black version of Trump, the Black version of Trump is not the majority vote of Black folk for their leaders.
No.
It's the spiritual sickness in terms of allowing a gangster to flower and flourish. We have our gangsters. We're not going to deceive ourselves.
Right.
If our Black gangsters are somehow messiahs.
That's right.
Don't do that. Unfortunately, it's too easily done on the vanilla side of town. Now, it's not a racist statement because it's not a function of skin pigmentation. It's a underdeveloped morality and hated spirituality.
Right.
That's what we're dealing with.
In other words, mentality. That's what we're dealing with, and how that mentality uses power. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. Baby, we going deep today. When we continue, we'll continue when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach: transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal: prevent system contact, and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen. And this is Sarah Beth. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese. I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Yes, we are. Yes, you are. Today, we have been centering what happened to Dr. William Barber and his colleague, Reverend Jonathan, yesterday as they prayed. They prayed and stood up to what the Trump administration is doing to harm everyday people of this country, poor and working class people, and they got arrested. And what does that mean for a larger society when people who are praying can be arrested? I mean, this happens. It has happened throughout the history of this country, but here we are right here. And Doc, as we opened the show, you put out some really deep things that we have to wrestle with. One, how many people really, or let me go with this. How powerful is the power of love? How powerful is power of love? How many people really believe in democracy? And then leaning on something Brother Tavis said in when he editorialized fundamental fairness. And when will America treat Black people in a fundamentally fair way? Hey, we putting that out on the table, and maybe tomorrow we can explore a little more of that. But that's just something for people to think about. How we don't want people to give up, though. We don't want them to give in. We don't want you to give out. And we have to ask these deep questions. So we feel like we're not losing our minds. This stuff is heavy.
That's exactly right. And that's another reason why the arts, and that's another reason why the greatest tradition in the modern world is Black music. Because the music understands that there's no definitive answer to that question. You live the question rather than just ask the question. And when you live the question, it means you are in the midst of all of the contradictions, the incongruities, the tensions, and the conflicts, and yet you're still moving and grooving with style and with a smile. And you got a song in your heart, you got a twinkle in your soul, and you got a sparkle in your eye with your way of being in the world. That's what Black people have mastered at our best.
At our best, we have definitely mastered that. Wow. Yeah. I'm feeling like we could do a whole course on power dynamics, evaluating power dynamics, the different types of power, and then to seal that thing on up. How powerful is the power of love when you go up against raw evil? I mean, I don't even know. When people are using power in ways that hurt, I mean, really hurt the livelihoods of people in this country. It is happening, and it is happening in the world. But we will not get weary. That book we read, We will not get weary in well doing, but that doesn't mean
give me love, give me Jesus, give me justice, no matter what the situation is.
That's it. We're gonna step back and analyze this thing though from time to time, but ultimately we will not get weary in well doing. Wow, this has been deep. Wrap your minds around all that you've heard, and hopefully that community involvement, both community among the Black community and then the larger community of everyday people, we come together. We want you to live on purpose, understand your purpose, know your purpose, and above all, understand that titles are good, but purpose is better. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.